Hi, Sam. How are you today?
Hi, Trish. I'm good. How are you?
God, I'm great. Thank you. This morning, we are taking a little bit of time for you to have an opportunity to share your experience in the recent Empower Her coaching program that you've been participating in for the last couple of months. But before we dive in and you start to tell us all about your experience, I'd love for you to just introduce yourself, say who you are, what you do, and what do you love about what you do.
My name is Samantha Conyers, and I am currently the Chief Experience Officer at First Retail Group. First Retail is the leading franchise operator in the Caribbean, and I still consider myself pretty new to the role. I've only been here for about 6.5 months. I've been in the field of customer experience for over 15 years, and I can genuinely see that this has been the most challenging role thus far, but also I think at the same time the most fun. For me, what I love about what I do is pretty simple. I like interacting with people and I like helping people overcome their challenges. And as somebody in the field of customer experience, you have the opportunity to interact with people across all different areas of the business. It's such a collaborative and cross-functional field or position, I should say, that it really allows me to interact with so many different people. And there's no day that's the same, which I really enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a role that, while it's centered around customer experience as a theme, it definitely has a lot of change and a lot of innovation that's built into it. It's a very challenging and inspiring role from that perspective as well. When you joined our program a few months back, tell me a little bit about what was it that brought you to the program? What were you perhaps struggling with, or what was it that brought you to this program that you thought, this is for me now?
The truth is, it's something that I've wanted to do for a long time. But there was no better time 3 months ago for me because of one, the transition into this new role, coming into a business that admittedly on their side is very unstructured. It was really important to me that I didn't fall into that unstructured nature and unstructured environment, but rather bring some structure to the organization. And this coaching program being so structured, not only one, did it help me remain true to my North Star, my values, and what I want in my own career, but it helps me bring a lot of that into the organization itself. When I look back at where I started and my mindset coming in, not only into the role, but into the coaching program, there's so many different things, tangible things that I actually literally printed and took to other people in the organization. I've seen real success in terms of how I was able to gently pull them into the new direction. One of the biggest impacts for me has definitely been implementing a performance management system or a performance based culture into the organization while going through this program. Because, of course, this program being goal oriented, it was very aligned in terms of what I was trying to coach the 26 store managers to do in terms of them being more goal oriented or performance oriented rather than sales oriented.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that you're talking about the fact that it was right for you at the moment in time, because I think you were stepping into something new and challenging. And it's a great way to put some structure around approaching something new so that you're taking
Absolutely.
that in a very structured, step by step way towards working towards milestones and goals within the program, right? And then you're also talking about the ability to use what you're learning in the program. It's not just for you personally, but to take that back into the organization and use those same tools and templates and things like that to help you drive momentum within the organization. So that's really great. So tell us a little bit about what is the biggest success or the thing that you are most proud of achieving, or maybe you might still be in the process of achieving it, but during this program, what are you most proud of or the biggest success that you've had?
I think the truth is that there's been a lot of wins, a lot of ticking the boxing done. And as somebody who, by nature, I'm really driven by tracking and measuring initiatives or objectives, I think for me, the biggest success here has been more from a leadership perspective in terms of trust and buy-in. And the reality is when you step into a new role, any new role, no matter what your credibility is or what your track record is, you step into distrust because it's like, who is this person and what are they coming to do? And throughout my career, I have always said that as a customer experience leader, you are the de facto change agent. And one of my biggest challenges in my working life has been you are seen as criticizing what everybody does, right? Because you're coming into a role, you're coming into an organization with an objective to improve the way that the organization delivers experiences. And the best side of that, as I mentioned, is it's very cross-functional and collaborative, and you get to work across all areas of a business, from IT to the sales flow. But the flip side of that is, again, you are the one that is, it's mandated that you're the one that identifies the challenges and the improvement areas. So by nature, that you face a lot of resistance to change. I think the biggest win for me in this program has been personal in terms of understanding how not to take that personally, understanding how to work through that. Something that you taught me that, as simple as it sounds, was never anything that really resonated with me, was limiting beliefs and understanding that one thing could be true, but it doesn't make the other thing true as a direct result of that one thing. So personally, that's been my biggest win in terms of getting over it and just moving on and staying results oriented and staying goal oriented while being people focused. And many people have no idea what a balance that is, balancing task and relationship. And it's something I've always prided myself in being able to do. But I realized throughout this program that I can become very task oriented when the relationship side gets difficult. And that has a ripple down effect as the leader, or as you taught me, the shadow of a leader, and how that impacts the many other people under me or fellow leaders in my organization. So that's absolutely been the biggest personal win for me. From a tangible perspective, in 6 months, we have incredible wins at First Retail. One of the most transformational ones from that I was in direct control of is definitely the performance-based system. Introducing that in the organization. I took your goal planning worksheet into those sessions and I printed 26 copies and gave one to each one of my managers. And I explained to them the way in which I set personal goals. And it's something that I can read text messages from all of them to me talking about the confidence that I've instilled in them and how this performance-based system has given them the opportunity to understand their strengths. And again, this is a direct result of what I've been learning through the program. So from an organizational perspective, the biggest win has been my ability to take my learning through this program and pass it on to the middle management. So they definitely feel like my biggest win, that team.
I love that you're talking about both the tangible and the intangible successes that you have, very tangible things. And I think very often, like you're saying, we get caught up in ticking all those boxes and all the tangible things, like we did this intangible side of successes and wins and learnings as well that we have along the way as we're working to very tangible things. And you're highlighting for anyone that's stepping into a new role, and especially a new leadership role, how important, yes, it is to get tangible things over the line in your first days, but how important the focus on earning trust is. And earning trust, also dealing with resistance, as you're saying, right? So that influencing change comes with dealing with resistance and being resilient to resistance, growing your own resilience to resistance.
Yeah.
Being able to find ways to earn and build trust with others and to build relationships. And I love how you're talking about the balance of the task and relationship, because that is so much of a really important, delicate balance to strike for any leader, but especially when you step into a new leadership role as well. And you're also highlighting the point about how important the boundaries of structure are to help people build confidence as well. So whether that is in small ways, but we often look at structure as something that is over constraining. But as we say, those constraints breed freedom, because when you have some boundaries in which to operate, you now have the freedom, creativity, and that to be creative. And that gives you confidence, right? So you have the balance of the structure and the boundaries and the freedom in which to do things. I love how you're talking about all those things.
Out there, Trish, is, again, it's as intangible as it sounds, something that has trickle down to the extremely tangible is the design of purpose, vision, mission, and values. And values is something that has really stood out to me in this program. And again, something that I've brought into the organization really quickly. And seeing it come to life every day in terms of how the management team, the store management team in particular, is making decisions. I'm using values as decision-making filters rather than using rules in terms of what you do and what you don't do, or processes and policies. I'm a big believer in mapping processes and having a policy to protect the organization. But if you have a layer of values over that, you literally, they become filtered to help people make decisions based on what the organization stands for. And again, that is a direct result of this program.
Yeah. And I know personally that you have used that in some very practical ways. And I love that about what you have done in the organization, because so often organizations talk about these things conceptually and they hang them on walls and different things like that, but they're not real, actual, practical, tangible tools that people use in their day-to-day responsibilities to actually guide things that they do. They're just things that we talk about more than things that we do. So I love that. Okay, so tell me, for you personally, what are one or two things that have truly shifted or changed for you as a result of this program? For you personally, what are some of the things that you started one way and now feel totally different for you?
I think the biggest thing has been understanding the importance of putting myself at the center of my goal. And that actually is something that we've spoken about a lot throughout the program. But it was Sarah who really brought it home for me. Just the impact of those conversations with like-minded women. It was really Sarah who brought that home for me. Similar business that she's in terms of from a retail perspective, but totally different situation. But her ability to really center her goals and her program, her objectives around herself was really humbling for me, because the truth is, it's not something that I have done, right? I have tackled things, never really putting the understanding or placing myself at the center of it, or really into least, it might sound selfish, but thinking what's in this for me and where do I benefit from this and where do I see myself in this? I would constantly say things like, okay, this is what's best for the business, and I want to go in the direction of what's best for the business. But really and truly, is it best for me? Probably not. Is it what I want to do? Probably not. So that has been my biggest personal breakthrough, which has been very humbling and draining at some times, right? Because I think it's a lot easier to stay focused on, okay, this is best for the business and it's not personal and I'm just going to go about my business. And I think it goes hand in hand with those self-limiting beliefs, right? When it becomes personal, one, you're much more motivated to achieve it. But the flip side, it hurts a lot more when you don't, right? And it's a lot harder to accept when you don't, or when you feel like you're taking 3 steps forward and 4 steps backward. That has 100% been the biggest, what I would say, aha moment for me, like challenging myself to see myself in these goals. Like you mentioned, it's really easy to tick box. I'm pretty confident that I could tick boxes. Like I tick most boxes most times. And it has been a big eye opener to say, yeah, I did all these things, but so what? Like, so what does that mean to me? And so what, where do I see myself? That is something that I'm continuing to work on. Again, using the frameworks that we've learned throughout this sort of couple of months has been, again, very eye-opening to go through it again. So what I've been doing is going back through the recordings and questioning that in almost every one, right? Okay, yes, I've built the organization's values. Yes, I've built the organization's purpose. But what is mine? Or what are my values? And what am I holding there? And does this align with me? I think back to big decisions I've made in my life. And I realized that that's really been at the center of it. Unknowingly, I have made my biggest career decisions around value, but never knew that, was never able to put a pin in it and say, this is what was wrong, or this is what was off here. So that has been huge for me personally, and trying to embrace that and stay confident in knowing not only my own worth, but my own values and in terms of what's important to me.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that you talk about that and the connection between values and your value, your worth, and those two things are connected. And it's really interesting because in your context as well, some women come to this program with a professional goal, but then some come with a personal goal. And often you find that those that come with a personal goal have much more of that heart that's in it, right? Because it's something that they really want. But when you're working in the organizational context, and this so often happens in organizations, is that we end up in these positions where goals and things are filtered down to us based on what the organizational strategy is and what we need to do in teams and things that are kind of filtered down to us. And then we lose some of that why in it. We lose some of that heart that's in it. And it becomes very difficult to see yourself in that goal, which makes it in so many ways so much harder to achieve. Because the true blend comes when we have that head, heart, and hand, when we know what it is that we want to do. We have that real belief and passion in it. And then we actually know the steps to take. And those things come together. But if you're missing that heart bit, like you say, or you're unclear about what it is, it makes it really hard to be resilient. It makes it really hard to go after it and to believe in it. Okay, so tell me a little bit about, maybe last question, what did you either learn about yourself or was the biggest breakthrough that you had during this program?
It's the timing. The timing, as I mentioned, was really great, right? And it all came together really nicely for me last week because I had to present at a Lockjack event around challenging customer experience. And the last slide I did for the presentation was a new approach or a different approach to how you manage and how you tackle being a CX leader in an organization. And when I was doing the slide, I realized there's so many learnings from this program. And it's things that you and I have spoken about so much in terms of leadership in general and different leadership styles. But the biggest breakthrough for me has been thinking about how I take my approach to goal setting. I think the team makes fun of me, the team in the coaching team, my OKRs. So I'm always very objective oriented. What do we need to do? How does it relate to the business strategy and how are we measuring it? But as I shared previously, I have never really put myself inside of that. So when I was doing the slides for the presentation last week, I broke it down into 3 key areas, right? Tactical, operational, and strategic. And within that, there was room for vision and values. I got a lot of questions from the audience about values. And exactly like you just said, a vision statement is something that hangs on a wall. And what do you do when it proverbially falls off the wall? So I think my biggest breakthrough has really been leading through those challenges. And I've always been very blessed in terms of my CEOs, for lack of a better word, the people that I have been lucky enough to work alongside and serve as a CX leader. And now that I'm stepping forward in terms of, from a business perspective, working alongside a business, setting up these programs and setting up a strategy for the first time and rolling it out for the first time, I've always been able to say, hey, this is what I think we should do. Now let's do it. So now stepping into the role of saying, hey, everybody, this is what we're going to do. And this is how I'm suggesting we do it has been a big difference for me. I think I've been much more comfortable behind the scenes, setting strategy and letting somebody else take front in terms of execution or in terms of delegation of that execution. So my biggest breakthrough has definitely been in terms of stepping forward and embracing the responsibility and the accountability in terms of how to communicate, how to lead through those challenges, and how to get rid of some of those self-limiting beliefs in terms of that can't come from me. That has to come from the boss, or that has to come from their boss, or they don't report to me. So that has been my biggest challenge and my biggest breakthrough in terms of accepting the responsibility, accepting the ownership of seeing things from design, development, and implementation. And the reality is, I think it was a bit of a struggle for me because I had been acting in the role of a consultant for the past 6 years. I was very good at, hey, you're the boss, you're the leader of your company. I'm going to empower you with all this information. You just got to do it. So they were like, in my consulting role, it was like, yeah, you're the best, Sam. I love this. Thank you. You made me look so good. Now I have to actually be like, oh yes, I have to do this now. It's no longer handing over. It's actually seeing it through. And there's a lot of tough conversations, right? It's a lot of tough operational conversations. And the truth is, when you any big change program, whether it's CX oriented, whether it's digital transformation, any growth initiative is challenging because people are comfortable where they are. And as the person responsible for leading through change, you are moving people out of their comfort zone. And like I said, I think I was in a comfort zone of being behind the scenes, handing things over. And I came back to corporate because I missed this operational hands-on approach. There's a really tough side to it also. And you have to accept that there are going to be people that are not going to like it. There are going to be people that are not going to want, for their own personal reasons, as well as professional reasons, want to be part of the change that you're working on or you're working through, I should say. 100% that has been the most humbling, the biggest breakthrough for me, stepping back into that role of, okay, I can't comfortably sit behind the scenes, as great as the design program might be, walking through it and holding hands with the leadership team as you walk through it is definitely the biggest challenge.
Yeah, what you raised to me in that, and certainly what I've seen in you over the months of the program, is you really embody what, from the perspective of leadership, is about authentic moments, and it's about leading through authentic moments. And those authentic moments are the moments when your values are challenged. And those authentic moments are not moments where it's about just getting things done or over the line or something like that. It's about something much more emotional in there as well. So knowing yourself, knowing the belief that you hold about that moment and what you believe to be true, and whether that is limiting or what we would call liberating, is truly so important, because how you step into that authentic moment with either a liberating or a limiting belief can totally change the outcome of that. I've definitely seen that be a big theme in your own journey through this program as well. All of those authentic moments coming up time after time. Sam, tell me a little bit about, who do you think is the type of woman that would benefit from this program? We've been talking about your experience, but if you were to just step outside and think, who do you think is the type of woman would benefit from joining a coaching program like this?
It's something that I have thought a lot about, because there's so many women in my life that can envision going through this, and I would love to see them go through this. And you said something earlier, and it's so true. It's some people come for personal reasons, and some people come thinking about they're going through their own change in their own personal life. And as ironically, I came with a totally opposite perspective, right? I'm in a new role. I need to design a strategy, and I need to do it. I need to execute that. And I think I had 32 milestones, right? I'm like, oh, that's nothing. 32, I could do that easy. And ironically, my biggest takeaway have been very humbling, as you would say, personal, liberating, or limiting beliefs. That has been my biggest takeaway. And it has also been something that I've been able to apply in my own personal life, in terms of what I deem important, what I place effort on, what I'm willing to say no to. That's been another big learning for me, in terms of actually saying no, and thinking about having way too many goals and milestones, and how that can shave away at your other the personal side of your life. Thinking back to dialing down, that's something that stays with me all the time, where I can dial down my strength in order to juggle the many balls that I have going on in my life. But the reality is, I don't see any limits in terms of what type of woman should go through a coaching program. I think that far too often, we as women don't prioritize our own well-being, whether that's from a professional or personal perspective. And we take on everything. We carry the weight of everything. You carry the weight of your family, you carry the weight of your job, you carry the weight of your friends, you carry the weight of your relationship. And I think that having a structured approach to deal with that, no matter if you're a career-oriented woman, if you're a new mom who is struggling to find yourself and your own purpose, I think that having a structured way and a positive outlook, in terms of, or a positive means, I should say, in terms of how you visualize what those next steps look like. And again, putting you in that goal I really don't see a limit in terms of what type of woman this is for. This is for anybody that wants clarity and direction. And I guess to end where we started, purpose.
Yeah. Yeah. Lovely. That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Sam. I really enjoyed hearing you speak about your experience over the last couple of months. And before we leave, and before I just say thank you to you again, but is there anything else that you would like to just share with me, or anything else you would like to say?
I think the only thing I would say is that I'm not finished yet. I feel like I've just started on this journey. I think that this community has had so much power in it for me. And I've always said this about customer experience as a field, that the networking, the mentee relationships that I've gotten out of my own field in customer experience has been so invaluable. And I see that here also. The community of women coming together and sharing challenges or situations has been extremely empowering to me, because a lot of times we feel very lonely. It's crazy as a woman. Personally, for me, I struggle all the time with imposter syndrome, and I wake up and I think, oh my God, oh, have I ever been? And that's not just from a career perspective. I vividly remember the morning of the half marathon. I ran a half marathon in December, and I woke up that morning and I literally had a panic attack. I was like, I cannot run. I can't do this. What makes me think I can do this? And thank God I had other women there with me. And it was like, you trained for this. You can do this. You put in the hours. You have the skills. And I go through the same thing from a career perspective. Like I will wake up and say, oh my God, well, I can't do this. How am I gonna get this over the line? And you guys have really been that support system to me through this process. Change is hard as hell. And going through it alone will make me emotional, but it's so hard to go through it alone. So I would say any woman that has any big change that you're dealing with, career, personal, it is critical to build your support system.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the strength of the bonds that we have as a group, that we come together, and like you said, the like-mindedness and just the community of knowing that we're all going through this together. And I think I hear that so much in all of the different workshops and in the program. We have all of these assumptions in our head that nobody else is going through this, that it's just me. And it's all of us, and just the empowerment of coming together and sharing that. And I have to say, it's what each of the women bring to the program. And I'll say it's not just everyone else, but it's also in you. So the same way that you see the power that they have brought for you is power that you brought for them. Your incredible resilience, your openness, your willingness to accept growth, your willingness to step into difficult situations and try new things. All of those incredible strengths and things I appreciate in you, you have brought to the rest of the group, encouraging them to do the same by doing that as well. The same way that you grow and learn and feel empowered and inspired by what they bring is the same way that you are encouraging their growth and their inspiration as well. And I just want to thank you so much for showing up that way, because it's been an incredible part of what makes our program so wonderful and so successful.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure. And I'm not done yet.
We're never done. None of us are ever done when it comes to personal growth and growing, right? It's always becoming the next version of ourselves. Just like your iPhone is never done updating, we are never done growing. There's another version, Sam 17.111.
Yeah, exactly.
Coming, right? Whether they're small updates or big updates, there are always updates that are coming. Sam, thank you so much for your time this morning. I truly appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing where we're going to continue to go together.
Absolutely. Thank you, Trish.